Call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone out to the August the 18th meeting of the Caswell County Board of Commissioners. If you would, join me in a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right, item 4, the consent agenda. Everyone should have had a chance to look over the minutes from our previous meeting. Any corrections or additions? Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, which is the minutes and tonight's meeting agenda?
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner Smith.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Rose. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries, excuse me. Announcements and recognitions. We'll start with you, Commissioner Smith.
Yes, sir. PCC has recently announced that they've received financial aid from the state of North Carolina and the Pell Grant to be able to offer up to $3,000 per student to those that want to attend PCC. The one qualifying factor is this: you got to have annual adjusted gross income of less than $80,000 per household. So those interested can call Emily Buchanan at PCC for more information.
Thank you. Mr. Totten? Mr. Holt? Commissioner Claggett?
No.
Commissioner Ingram?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to recognize, on August 5th, we had National Night Out. It was a great success, even though the weather didn't cooperate with us, but I just want to thank everyone that participated. And I'd like to thank Kyle Love, who actually spearheaded this year's National Night Out. And I just want to commend them on the great job that they done.
Thank you. Commissioner Rose?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll just reiterate what Commissioner Ingram said. Thank you, Kyle. Y'all did a great job putting that on. Also did be able to get in the Duncan booth, but maybe next year. So that's all, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Public comments. Do we have any, Mr. Whitaker?
We have no one signed up.
Anyone like to speak that didn't sign up? All right. Item 7, presentation items. The 2023 Community Health Assessment and the 2024 State of the County Health. Nicole Gibson.
How about now?
She's our health educator.
Yeah, my name's Nicole Gibson. I'm with the Caswell County Health Department. I'm the health educator there. And tonight I'm just going to give you a little bit of background about the community health assessment that we conducted. So the community health assessment, AKA CHA, is done every 4 years. The purpose is to engage the community through an assessment to identify key health problems in the community and provide decision makers with information necessary to inform public health decisions. The process starts with the people who live in Caswell County and continues with their involvement through implementation of strategies developed for addressing the priority areas. It's done by the community, not on the community. The CHA is also a requirement between the local health department and Department of Health and Human Services Division of Public Health and NC Local Health Department's Accreditation Board. In your packet, there is a one-page handout that includes key points and data from the 2023 CHA. It's also up here on the board. I'll just briefly kind of go over some of that. So priority number 1 is structured activities for youth, and priority number 2 is improved race relations. Some key points that are highlighted on this sheet, there was a population change from 2019 to 2022, and that was a 0.27% increase. The median age of residents in Caswell County is 47 years old. The vulnerable population, which is anybody below 5 years old or above 65, is 26.3% in the county. The Hispanic population has also increased from 3.8% to 4.8%. And then also the per capita for Caswell County is $27,503 versus North Carolina, it is $37,641. The median income earning for Caswell County is $56,999. And for North Carolina, that is $67,481. Also, the high school graduation rate for 2020 and 2021 was 86.9%. Top hospitalization and emergency department visits for children 0 to 17 included poisoning and unintentional falls. The top 3 leading causes of death were diseases of the heart, cancer, and chronic lower respiratory diseases. In the community health assessment, peer counties that were addressed were Greene and Chowan counties. Neighboring counties were Alamance, Person, and Rockingham. Also on the screen, there is the Caswell County racial and ethnicity profile that you can see. But there was 59.6% of residents that were white, 0.1% was American Indian, 32% were Black or African American, 4.8% were Hispanic or Latino, 0.9% was Asian. There were 0 for Hawaiian or Native, and then 2.6% were 2 or more races. This data was gathered through multiple sources, including county health rankings and roadmaps, the State Center for Health Statistics County Health Data Book, the American Community Survey by the U.S. Census Bureau. Based on community feedback through a community survey and focus groups, like I said earlier, the same priorities for the 2019 CHA remained top priorities. 2023 CHA. So those were, again, structured activities for youth and improved race relations. So how do we measure this progress? We measure it through the second part of my talk, which is the State of the County Health Reports. These are published each year that a CHA is not conducted. So in this case, we had one in 2024, 2025, and then we'll have one in 2026. And these are just monitoring progress made on each priority area. There's also another one-page handout that is available in the packet for your review. But in general, for structured activities for youth, progress that has been made includes development of the Youth Council. There are trauma-informed community building trainings being conducted, such as question, persuade, and refer training that was offered to school staff. And then the Education Collaborative also established 4 work groups: sense of belonging, academic readiness, non-school hours, and technology. All of these are working on efforts as identified in the CHA to provide youth programming and inclusive spaces to make sure all kids in Caswell County have safe places to hang out and engage outside of school. Progress made on improved race relations includes there were trauma-informed community building trainings, such as Racial Equity Training Institute Phase 1 was offered. There have also been discussions and community dialogues held around racial healing, how to strengthen relationships, build trust, and heal wounds. There was also a movie night showing the film The Movement. There was a Reconnecting Caswell event. And then also the racial equity training that I already mentioned. Lastly, there are a couple changes that I wanted to highlight since the last CHA's emerging issues. In North Carolina for the 2022-2023 flu season, there were 196 deaths. In comparison to the 2023-2024 season, there were 319 deaths. I did break this down by age, and 63% of those deaths were the vulnerable population, so that's 202 out of the 319. This topic is notable because 26.3% of our population is considered vulnerable. Again, that's either under 5 years old or over 65. So that is roughly, based on when this data was done, about 6,000 of our residents fall into that category. Also, another topic and emerging issue is the My Healthy Futures Alternative to Suspension Vaping Education Program that is being implemented in Dillard Middle School and Bartlett Yancey High School. Students who are caught vaping are offered this online program in ISS instead of immediate OSS to reduce the amount of time missed in school. Follow-up education sessions are offered in partnership with the Health Department and Alcohol and Drug Services. Once again, the 2025 SOTCH will be released in the spring of 2026, and the next trial will be conducted in 2027 with a release date of 2028. Thank you for your time. Are there any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I did have one question. I found a set of numbers that pretty alarming to me, having to do with the unemployment rate in Caswell County, 3.2, which I think is extremely low. I thought it'd been higher than that. But what I also found was that the labor force percentage out of work people was 46.9% of the population. I think that's pretty alarming.
Right. And this data was collected based off 2022 data, so it may have changed between then and now as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Gibson.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, moving on down to action items. Number 8, the 2026 comprehensive plan. Mr. Whitaker.
So we, of course, talked about this at the last meeting. This was a budgeted item, and at the time, we were calling it a land use plan, and hasn't really changed from that, other than just some better definition after some discussion with our planning director and PTRC that provided the proposal. So really what we felt like the board and the county was after was an update of the 2014 comprehensive plan with the addition of a land use plan component, especially with some of the growth characteristics outside of our county and kind of pressing in on our borders. And so what you have in your packet is the proposal itself. You had that at the last meeting, and our attorney has also created a contract. Now, you may want to, when you consider this contract, actually adding that as an exhibit, the actual proposal, if that, just to give more clarity. But I believe the essence of it is that you copied their services into the actual contract. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Whitaker. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I received the proposal by Piedmont Triad Regional Council, which was addressed to Jason Wallington on July 16th, 2025. And I incorporated the terms of this proposal into our county's service agreement. And you'll see the services outlined on page 1 and page 2 of the contract, which mirror the terms in the proposal. You also see the price, which has a maximum amount of $48,000. The term of the agreement would last through August 31st, 2026. And we inputted that date based upon the proposal, which indicates that there would be a 12-month process from the beginning to the finalizing of this plan.
So part of the reason that this is a long process is because it has a considerable amount of public engagement, as it should. We don't want to come up with this this plan or PTRC in a vacuum. It very much needs citizen input. And to that end, we'll be coming back to the board at a near meeting to ask you to approve a slate of steering committee members. But for this evening, the goal was just to let you consider this contract, and some of the components there again are clearly outlined in the contract and the proposal itself, but the end product would be called the 2026 Caswell Comprehensive Plan. And be glad to answer any questions you have about the proposal or contract.
Any questions, gentlemen?
And also have on the screen, if there's anything in particular you want to look at, this is the comprehensive plan that we really should be keeping before us a lot in the future. And so when this is updated and has that land use component, I believe it'll be much more effective and important for the planning board and to guide us with decisions.
Jason, you may can answer this. The public meetings, did I see 3 will be held? Did I read that somewhere else?
There are 3 public meetings and an additional 2 community events. So in essence,
5.
5 to a certain degree.
There will be scattered
Yes, sir.
throughout the county, not everything here in town.
We can actually let the board know prior to kind of where we would like these meetings to be
I
at.
think as long as you cover each quadrant, so to speak, if you divide it up like that and then have a meeting here in town, not the first, maybe the 5th meeting, plan it like it needs to be planned, but
Yes, sir.
they need to be spread out.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments? Do I have a motion to approve the contract with PTRC?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move to proceed with the budgeted 2026 comprehensive plan projected using PTRC for the services outlined per attached proposal and contract at a cost not to exceed $48,000.
Have a motion from Commissioner Rose. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Ingram. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Mr. Chair, if I
Yes.
if I may.
Ms. Waller. Go ahead.
I just want to notify our public that this plan does not have anything to do with zoning, nor does it open any doors for future discussion at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 9, the flock safety license plate reader cameras. Mr. Whitaker.
Okay, and this is another contract proposal that we discussed at the last meeting. It involves 6 different license plate reader cameras, and we talked about some of those details with Sheriff Durden at the last meeting. It doesn't involve any new money. The funds would come from DEA forfeiture funds, potentially also a JAG grant, but even if that doesn't come through, there is sufficient money there in the forfeiture funds to cover it. And the sheriff talked about these cameras and that they would be located strategically around the county. And it is split up into 2 components over 2 budget years, 21,900 in this current budget, and then 18,000 in next year's budget, totaling $39,900. And be glad to answer any questions about it.
Any questions? I do have one. I know the money, the budgeted amount, see the 21.9 for this fiscal year and 18 for the following fiscal year. That's going to be DEA money on both years, correct?
Right, unless the JAG grant were to come through, and then that could be used for it also. But even if it doesn't, to be on the safe side, there's money there in the forfeiture funds.
And going beyond those 2 fiscal years, will there be, and I know that's looking into a crystal ball, DEA money available?
I'm not certain what the contract is beyond that. I just have the contract itself, and I know as we talked about at the last meeting, this kind of is the preferred and vendor because of their database, and I'm not sure if Commissioner Ingram knows more about that.
No, you're actually right, in speaking that, but most of the time, Mr. Chair, when it comes to the DEA money, that's money that basically comes in every year through the work that they do. But I can't give you an exact
Right.
on how much they give each year.
Gotcha.
Mr. Chair, I think on page 125, it's, if I'm not mistaken, on that Exhibit A order form, it's got initial term of 24 months, renewal term of 24 months. So I would guess if there were not sufficient funds, excuse me, in the DEA asset forfeiture, apparently this is just for a 24-month period of time,
Correct.
that if it wasn't, then the funds were not there, it'd have to come back before the board to approve or not approve.
Correct.
Thank you.
And I believe, Commissioner Ingram, you correct me if I'm wrong, these 6 cameras will be put in areas where the sheriff feels like he needs them the most, and
Yes.
not, they won't all be, just like a community meeting we was talking about, they won't all be in one spot. They'll be scattered around.
That's exactly right, and that's for the purpose of, a lot of times they're basically put in places with a lot of high traffic volume, in places that he feel the necessity of where they need to be according to things that's going on within the county.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Scott, I know the contract's 39,900. Do you know what the breakdown is between hardware and software for these cameras?
I do not beyond this, what's proposed here. So if you look at, well, it breaks down professional services, and it looks like it lumps in the cameras. I don't see a breakdown beyond that.
So that being said, I would think that the hardware is a one-time deal, and then software is technical support, which would be renewed possibly from year to year.
I'm sorry, could you repeat
That
that?
your understanding that I would say the hardware should be a one-shot deal, buy the cameras, and then the software would probably be technical support ongoing.
I believe that's how it works. I'm not positive, but I can find out.
Any more discussion? All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
A motion from Commissioner Smith to approve the contract with Flock Safety. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Thank you.
Yes. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Totten. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, Mr. Whitaker, item 10, the hazard mitigation plan and resolution.
So we also discussed this at the last meeting, and that this current plan is actually valid until September the 30th. So part of the value of this Northern Piedmont Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan is to ensure that we get some of the federal and state assistance in the event of a state of disaster. And this has been a process to get to this document. It of course isn't printed in your packet because it's 1,570 pages long. If you would like to look at it, I'd be glad to go to this link and we can dig down a little bit, but a lot of it is, I'll say boilerplate for our region. And then you have a couple of sections, Section 7, which is the capability assessment, and Section 9, mitigation action plan, that are more specific to Caswell. And what the state, North Carolina Emergency Management, is requesting is approval before we get to that September 30th deadline, which is why it's on the agenda this evening and at the last meeting. And be glad to answer any questions, or we can go to the link and look at parts of it if you would like to.
All right, any questions, comments, gentlemen?
And so what you would actually be adopting is the resolution to approve the plan, and that's what's attached in your packet.
Do I have a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner Rose,
Second.
second from Commissioner Ingram. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 11, budget amendment number 7, Parks and Rec playground equipment.
So this has to do with some different past approved grants in 2024 and earlier this year before this current budget in early 25. And it really just reallocates those funds to this current budget so they can be expended as intended. And that involves a few different things: installation of a playground and park, purchase of obstacles, benches, water fountain, baseball, softball equipment. And the total amount is $7,766.14. And if you look at the next page, you'll see the breakdown of those three amounts here: the $1,792, $4,474, and $1,500. And again, this is just reallocating that money for past approved grants.
So this is grant money that we've already received
Correct.
that's been put into the general fund, and now we're just
Right.
being asked to approve to spend that money. Okay. Any questions?
So this wasn't carried forward to this current budget?
It was not budgeted. The
It
money was
was
there, but it was not put in the budget. Am I speaking? Go ahead, Ms. Whitaker. I'm sorry.
right. It was approved, but not specifically allocated. So it is just allocating that so we can spend it.
The professional services there, that's $1,792.14. What does that consist of? Do you know?
That has to do with the installation. This was a grant from the Community Foundation of the Dan River region to install the playground. And that's the amount related to that installation.
Okay. That's more or less a labor bill, so to speak. Any other questions?
There.
Yes, sir.
Is this all that's left in that grant? Is this amount?
I believe it is. I can double check that, but I think so.
I have a motion to approve budget amendment number 7, Parks and Rec.
So move.
I have a motion from Commissioner Claggett,
Second.
second from Commissioner Ingram. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Okay, moving down to discussion items, budget amendment number 8, Community Computer Access Grant. Mr. Whitaker.
Okay, number 8 is a new item, and this relates to uh, a project where the county, Caswell County, was awarded a Community Computer Access Initiative grant from the Danville Regional Foundation. And the purpose of it is to extend digital access and skills so more Caswell residents can learn, work, and stay connected. Cooperative Extension has been identified as the fiscal agent, and the award is $25,000 to be used for laptop purchases, outreach, training, and coordination. And it's expected to conclude by in March of this coming year. And it's reimbursement based, and matching funds are provided by the Piedmont Triad Regional Council. Of course, we're a member government of PTRC. And given that this grant wasn't anticipated when the budget was being developed, a budget amendment would be needed to authorize the funds for the expenditure. And if you have any specific questions about the grant, our extension office director is here and can probably answer those questions.
Travis, how's this gonna work?
It was actually a collaborative effort between the local Caswell Education Collaborative has a technology committee that broke off, and they met and they decided that now that we've got internet pretty well across the county and pretty consistent internet, that the next need was to start educating some people and getting devices in those people's hands that they can start using to better their lives. So they came up with a training program. They're working with Tyler, our digital skills agent. They're going to have to go through and complete so many hours of training before they receive the computers. It'll only be one computer per household. And we're going to work on having trainings throughout the county in different locations and different times of day and throughout the fall here. And then once they've completed those, then the grant will pay for those computers to be with that household.
So they will keep these computers?
Yes, on completion of the training.
Laptop?
Yes, it's a small Chromebook, nothing, I mean, we're looking at $200 a device is what we're looking at. And then there was also written into the grant that whatever funds we have left over to after we purchase the initial 70 that our goal is to do 70 people trained throughout the county. They would also have some funds to offer them a 2-month membership or 2 to 3 month membership to CoSquare so they can come in and utilize those in CoSquare too.
How are you going to determine eligibility? Or is there a way to determine it?
There's really no,
First come, first serve.
it'll be kind of first come, first serve. Eligibility on the family is we'll look for a document of some sorts that proves their residencies. And then that's what we'll use for each household.
And I'll add that because it's a new item on the agenda, it's the first night it's been on there. I've got it listed as discussion, but since you have the director here, if you don't have other questions, you would have the right to waive that rule and to vote on it tonight if you wanted to.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
So Travis, there'll be a selection process, or how will the participants know that this program's out there for them?
Once we get the budget amendment and we can actually finalize the funds being sent to us and have a place to put it, then we will actually put a news article out there and finalize the dates and places where we're doing. And then there'll be a sign up through Eventbrite. We'll run an Eventbrite that they'll register with us, and then we can kind of go through a process at that point. The committee's meeting again tomorrow. We might discuss a little bit more of if we want to do a little more in-depth selection process. We're hoping we get a good
turnout for it, that we
Yeah.
have to go to a selection process. So,
Yeah, I noticed it said outreach training, so.
yeah, it's going to be a lot of, Tyler's doing a lot of mostly Google products. This is what we'll go through. He also has some home-based business certificates that he can introduce them to, that they can come take with him as well. So we're going to do some of that outreach training too in those.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
As I stated earlier, PCC's got some really good programs now with the tuition, the grants, and then this program. It's a win-win for the county because we get the money through the grant, plus we get the revenues, as you mentioned, the Coast Grant, that gives us exposure.
Any more discussion? Gentlemen, is this something y'all want to go ahead and approve tonight, or do you want to wait till the next meeting? We can approve it tonight if we suspend the rules because it's going to exceed the budget amount, Mr. Attorney.
Yes, sir. That references Rule 27 of the board's rules and procedure, which states no votes on expenditures for off-budget spending in excess of $10,000 shall be held unless tabled from a prior meeting. But as Mr. Whitaker mentioned, the board may suspend those rules, but it requires a 2/3 vote.
Floor is open.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we suspend the rules and that we go ahead and approve the 25,000 tonight, especially since we're receiving that money as a grant.
A motion from Commissioner Smith. Have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Totten. Any discussion? Mr. Attorney, can we do all this in one swoop, or do we do two separate motions? Can we suspend the rules and make the approval all in one time?
Let's do two separate votes,
Or
please.
two separate motions?
Yes,
All
sir.
right. First motion will be then on suspending the rule. I don't think there's any discussion on motion to suspend the rules. I might be wrong. All those in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. All right, suspend the rules now. Mr. Smith, floor is open for motion to approve.
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve the expenditure of $25,000 to the PCC venture. In that it's going to be economic development and provide additional exposure to Coast Square.
Motion from Commissioner Smith. Have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Ingram. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving budget amendment number 8, please let it be known by raising your right hand. All those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Travis.
Thank you.
Okay, appointments, reappointments. Mr. Whitaker.
So this next item involves one applicant, Mr. Darrell Freeland, and the Library Advisory Board, the Planning Board, and the Hunting and Wildlife Advisory Committee. And what you have in your packets include Mr. Freeland's application and his resume, the roster for each of those boards, and then our CAB or Citizen Advisory Board policy. And be glad to talk about any details there about openings or any questions you have about that.
Any questions, gentlemen? How many openings we have on these boards? On the Library Advisory Board?
Let me pull it up on the screen here for you.
Okay, maybe I need to look a little closer at my email.
So we've been trying to build this library board because we haven't had enough for a quorum. And you appointed 2 people recently, Mr. Matkins and Ms. Watlington. And so that board is planning to meet for the first time in a long time. They've got a date scheduled, and, but there is still an opening on that. And do you want to look at each one of them, or was it just that one?
Want to do each one, but we'll
Oh.
take them one at a time if you want to. So,
Oh.
go ahead.
Well, and you may have questions, because we certainly have internally about the planning board. So I'm going to make this actually smaller so you can hopefully see the whole page for the planning board. So we, meaning the attorney and I and the planning director, have been talking about this board because as I went to the roster to see how many members we have, and I had sent you the board some information recently I discovered on our website that shows that the planning board should have 9 members, and our Unified Development Ordinance also shows that it should have 9 members, but it has traditionally operated with 8 members that you see, and I'll just read, well, if you count off those first folks as I scroll through, and then Mr. Chair, you're an ex officio member, as am I, and as also our planning director and environmental health specialist or director. And so the question has been internally, and trying to get to this matter of do we have an opening or not. The question has been how actually does ex officio membership count? So you dig down into the policy. So ex officio actually just means by position. So doesn't really mean they vote or not unless that's defined. But our policy does say that that's attached. The policy says that ex officio, from our standpoint, says that the member does not vote. But I understand in the past, at least on the planning board, there have been some ex officio members who have voted, and I think the board, maybe change that internally. Is that fair to say, Mr. Attorney? Or decided that the ex officio member should vote?
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, approximately 10 years ago, this issue came up on the planning board. There's an ex officio board member that sought a determination from the Board of Commissioners as to whether or not the ex officio member could vote. And at that time, the chair and the majority members of the board determined that the ex officio member of the planning board did have voting rights. Now, I understand there may have been a policy that was updated, was it 2020? Scott?
So in April of 2020, the county passed a policy related to committees that specifically said ex officio members do not vote. So that is the current policy. So we're trying to describe what some past practice has been and what the current policy is.
And Mr. Chairman, I was just approached in reference to this subject before the meeting, so I apologize for not having any additional research, but I'll be glad to dig a little bit deeper and try to formulate, a response moving forward. But I will add that typically when there are openings on the planning board and other various boards, there would be an advertisement in the local newspaper advertising for applicants. And I do not think that has happened for the planning board because those terms do not expire until December.
Okay.
And just to be clear, after all of that, we know the UDO, Unified Development Ordinance, says that we should have 9 members. The question here is, do any of these ex officio members, after Mr. Thompson, who's the 8th member here, do any of these folks count toward that 9? And do we have an opening or not?
Well,
So
going
strict
by-
reading says we do, but
Going by county policy now, ex officios can't vote, so We would
do,
just have eight.
do not
members.
vote.
Do not,
Do-
cannot vote. Cannot
Right.
vote.
So that would mean that there are eight voting members on this board. And it looks like four of us who are ex officio non-voting members. I will say, from talking to the planning director, I think that eight membership or the board has felt like they're full for a long time, and they might be surprised to learn that there's an opening, but for what that's worth. And you did want to go through each of these rosters, so if you want to.
Well, just hold for that one right
Okay.
there. Going by what the attorney says, if there is an opening, it has to be advertised to the public.
Typically, that's been the process of this board. The clerk would advertise for that position for applicants.
I've seen those notices before. Okay. And then what do we have on the, whatever other board it was? Hunting and Wildlife, I believe it was. Am I right?
Mhm.
So, and this is a committee that just met for the first time and recently, this summer in a long time. And that was after a member, Mr. Billy Carden, was appointed back in February, and they had not been meeting. I had made you aware that we were meeting again, and so there is room. There's a vacancy on here. So what you see is a vacancy and 4 members, counting Commissioner Holt, and then a couple of us are ex officio.
Well, now I got a question. And nothing against Commissioner Holt by any means, but if I'm serving on a planning board and I'm ex officio, how is Commissioner Holt not ex officio on the Hunting and Wildlife? I'm curious, I'm just
Well,
curious now.
Yeah, it's a fair question because I have, I asked you a question recently in a meeting. There was a discrepancy within my rosters that I'm looking at as the clerk, that said one committee is 4-year terms, one is 3-year terms. And this document that came to my attention this week, that's quite old, I think about a decade or so, gives a little more insight into that in telling each committee how many members there are, but it still does not, to your question, get to the heart of, okay, what's the composition of each of these committees? So some jurisdictions that have a lot of boards, commissions, and committees like this, they'll have an establishing document for each one that says, we want X number of members on this particular board or committee made up of these folks. Well, we don't quite have that, and you're going to see that next month with JCPC. We've got a long roster that's about 25 or so members, with a lot of designations of we want this person on there, one role is this, and there's a long list, but nowhere on my end can I find any kind of policy or document that clarifies that. And that's kind of a long way of saying, I don't have anything that clearly shows me when we want a commissioner or myself or any other ex officio member on a committee or board, when we want them to be voting or not, other than that policy we just discussed from April of 2020 that just says ex officio members are not voting. That doesn't necessarily mean every commissioner that's on a board or committee is ex officio. That was a lot for you to absorb.
In my mind, I'm thinking that if, just pick a commissioner, whoever, if they're serving on committee ABC and they can vote, then the next commissioner is serving on committee XYZ, he can't vote. It needs to be something that's across the board. My line of thinking. Either a commissioner can vote if they serve on a committee, or they can't. Not some can, some can't. Am I thinking about this right, Mr. Attorney?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, and I'll just add that state law and the general statutes allows ex officio members to vote unless the local bylaws say otherwise.
Well,
So-
either a commissioner should have voting rights on the committee he serves on, or he should not be ex officio. However, we would need to word it, but everybody needs to be treated equally, I think.
And that brings up the important clarification or point there. Some of you are on boards as ex officio, some of you are just on boards. And there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to that. Maybe there was, but I haven't found it documented anywhere. So it makes it a little complicated when you're looking at fellow commissioners.
Something that we need to work on, I think, to try to get some kind of uniformity as far as these boards and committees go.
I would be glad to go through the directory that we have of all the committees and boards and pull out all of the current commissioners and give you a list just so you can be clear of the mix that we've got throughout. Would that be helpful to you?
Yeah, and if you would denote whether or not they're ex officio or not, so we'll know who can, who can't, the way it's set up today. Still think we need to visit that and have some semblance of uniformity in it, as far as commissioners serving on boards and committees. But that's just my take. You know, the rest of the board might feel exactly opposite. I don't know.
Well, and that's actually the same with my position. I'm ex officio on some committees and boards because of my county manager position. But some I'm just a member without being ex officio. So I'm kind of in that same situation as you are.
All right, getting back to where we started at. On appointments or reappointments. Mr. Freeland has applied or put in his, would like to serve on the Library Advisory Board, Planning Board, Hunting and Wildlife Advisory Committee. In my mind, the Planning Board needs to be kind of off the table because it hadn't been advertised as an opening. Am I correct in my thinking?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I would concur.
The board concur with that? Is that a general consensus because it hadn't been advertised? Yes. All right, that leaves the Library Advisory Board. Let's tackle that one first. Do we have a motion to appoint?
So move.
Mr. Claggett made the motion. Do I have a second? Second from Commissioner Rose. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Motion carries. All right, the Hunting and Wildlife Advisory Committee. A motion? Who made the motion? Mr. Holt? I'll second that one. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, Mr. Freeland is appointed to the Library Advisory Board and the Hunting and Wildlife Advisory Committee. All right, moving on down to updates, Mr. Manager.
So I have a few items. Just wanted to update the public and the full board about Yanceyville's water system, their situation of using Danville's water. My understanding that that's going to be a slow process to repair and rehab all of the water plant filters. There are 4 of those, and 2 of those were down before the storm. 2 were ultimately overwhelmed. And say all that to say that the current setup of Yanceyville getting the water from Danville through our line will be in place until at least October or November. And just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on that. In reference to staff recruitment, we have begun interviewing finance director candidates. And we also had a new employee who started today in payroll. So we're making progress there, advertising for the deputy clerk position. And that's coming along well. Topic we've talked about in recent past in reference to the Department of Labor and our OSHA reports or inspections is that final OSHA inspection that we've been talking about is due likely in mid-September. So that's when our clock will start ticking. We have made tremendous strides, I think, in mitigating some of those problems. Our new safety committee that you approved meets tomorrow, and we've continued to make safety improvements. We've had forklift training this week. We've installed eye wash station in Guilford Mills. Farmer Lake has some new safety equipment. So we have several things that continue to happen to better position us in regard to safety. And emergency management is undertaking a pretty substantial inventory of our assets and equipment. And I will report on that when it's a little further along. And they've done a good job of keeping us posted on what they're finding, and we're trying to prioritize needs there. And again, I'll come back to you about that when more is known. With our Pelham Industrial Park, that access road is complete. RD had checked it after a rain, made sure it was draining well, seems to be functioning well. And so that's a success. And then understand that our fishing day at Farmer Lake this past Saturday was a big success. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Whitaker. Mr. Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The county filed a new tax foreclosure civil action last week in file number 25 CVD 1348 entitled Caswell County versus Juanita Patterson Desjarnet. And this is in reference to delinquent taxes owed in reference to tax map 16 parcel 15 in the Pelham Township, which encompasses 7.5 acres. So this action was filed last week, and I'll keep the board updated as the county makes progress. I'll have further updates for you in the closed session.
Right. Commissioner updates and comments. We'll start with you, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The only thing I have is reference to that water issue. Mr. Attorney, were you able to, we had discussed the letter concerning the reimbursement, and you said you were going to look into that.
Yes, sir. I'll be glad to, Commissioner Rose. The county had drafted an agreement, and I believe that agreement was presented to the town, but I haven't received any updates since that agreement was presented, but I'll be glad to research that for you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ingram?
Nothing.
Mr. Claggett?
Budget workshop meeting minutes from May 28th, 2025 and June 2nd, 2025 still aren't accessible to the public. And I'd like to know how much the county is paying this contracted off-site person that scribes our minutes. That's all I have.
I'll be glad to address that for you. So traditionally, or at least recently, I had noticed that our minutes, and actually we'll just pull it up here since I've got our website up. So when you scroll down to look at our different meetings, I had noticed that our budget meetings, and the two you mentioned, May 28th and June 2nd, were not on there. And I think that had just been traditionally those kind of meetings had not been placed on there. So I just have in the last probably week and a half or so asked IT to please put that up there, because at the end of the day, they are public meetings, and it would be nice to have the agenda and the minutes on there. So they have, IT has just listed this second budget work session and May 28th budget sessions. And I'm just still sorting through the minutes to get them on there. I have those. I just need to get them on the website.
Thank you.
Mr. Holt?
When we suspended that to take that vote a little while ago, does that automatically go back? Or was it, because I didn't hear anyone say that it was ended after that vote.
I'm sorry, repeat your question, Commissioner.
Where we suspended being able to spend over the $10,000, I never heard it where it was stated that it goes back into effect after that vote.
It was my understanding that was just for this meeting.
Just want to clarify that because I didn't hear that. So.
Yeah, it's the chair's intention that it was for that one item only.
Right.
We are back. If it comes up again, something that's over 10 and we hadn't previously discussed it, we would have to have another motion to suspend the rules. It goes back each time. I think it's the way it's done. I think.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Todd? Good. Mr. Smith?
Yes, I've got two things. Scott, can you provide us an update on the 24 audit?
Yes, so spoke about that a little bit today in our interviews with Finance Director, and Ms. Sharp was on that call and in those interviews. And we're still on track to have the core 24 audit done by the end of this month. I think with the caveat that some of the financial statements will likely bleed into September. So other than having those final financial statements, we're still tracking well on this.
That's good.
And then the goal will be to have the 25 done on time this year.
Right. Okay, the second thing is this week I witnessed a possible violation of the Code of Ethics. And I would make a recommendation to you that you provide copies of the Code of Ethics to all board members. We do have new members.
Okay, I will. I understand. I looked back for that policy and know that the board made a change to that back in early March of this year.
Right.
Is that all done? Is that all, Mr. Smith?
So, yes, sir.
Ambulance arrived. I'm taking it. I hadn't heard, but I'm thinking it came last week, the new ambulance. Is it here?
My understanding is that it's here and there are going to be some photos taken, I think this Wednesday, and there's a press release. So we're getting close to being public about
Okay.
that.
All right. Good enough. I was thinking it.
But I haven't laid eyes on it, but yes.
We
it
hope
was
it's here in
It was supposed to have been here the 13th, so.
Okay, good enough. All right. Announcements and upcoming events and meetings. Tomorrow, the 19th, Board of Adjustment meeting, County Park Road. Also tomorrow from 2:30 to 3:30, Back to School Bash, 649 Fire Tower Road. Wednesday from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., the Community Soup Lunch at Coast Square. The 21st and 28th, Farmers Market, right across the street more or less from here, from 4 to 6:30 p.m. Also on the 21st, joint meeting for Caswell, Yanceville, and Milton. And Mr. Rose, did you say you were going to be at that?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Because I know we have some folks that are going to be going to training. So the 26th of this month, Planning Board meeting at the library, September the 2nd, a Tuesday, gentlemen. We'll have our next commissioners meeting here. Monday the 1st is Labor Day. All right. Closed session to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege as provided under General Statute 143-318.11 subsection A3. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Ingram. Second, Commissioner Rose. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We now sit in closed session.